losing. And really and truly, I wanted to be in football. And strangely enough, I was offered a job at Bath City and went and took it.
So Bath City, Plymouth Argyle helps to serve your apprenticeship. But in '65 you come to Main Road and you're working with Joe Mercer. What was the working relationship like with Joe?
Well, it was excellent actually. What happened is when I was at Lilleshall, Joe Mercer came to watch some of the sessions. And also in the same class as me was Stanley Matthews and Stan Mortensen and Jimmy Hagan. These three great players were in the same. I was 21, 22 and they were in their late 30s. And as it happens, I think one of them must have spoken to Race Carter because Race Carter rang me up at Plymouth and asked me to go to Plymouth, to Middlesbrough with him. So the next day Joe Mercer rang me and asked me to go and see him. And then I got a message from Stanley Matthews asking me to go with him at Port Vale. So I had these three. So I said to Joe, look, I promised to go and see Race Carter. He said, come and see me first. Now I was always a Manchester City supporter, even though I lived in Kent, but because when I went to my grandmother's once, I was listening to the radio. It was a cup final in 1934. And Everton were playing Manchester City, and Everton won 3-0. And I always supported the underdog, and so Manchester City was my team, and from 7 years of age. And I got to know all the players who were playing, and so when Joe asked me to come and take the job here, you know, I rang Race Carter up and told him that I was going to go to Manchester City and see Joe Mercer first. And anyway, he said, well, ring me back afterwards, you know, so I came and saw Joe and I took the job and I rang Race and told him that I was very sorry. And it's very strange because our first game was against Middlesbrough at Middlesbrough. And I remember Race Carter swearing and saying, calling his players all sorts, you know. He was saying, this useless bunch. Anyway, we got a draw there, I think, with a draw there, and we went on and we had a good run and we won the second division that year. But working with Joe was ideal for me. Because Joe was a peacemaker. Joe was everybody liked Joe. You know, you go in the boardroom, everybody was like, oh, Joe, Mr. Mercer, no, so. And I used to sometimes moan or groan or swear at him, you know, or say something about the game, or, you know, be quiet, Malcolm, be quiet.
The relationship, did you deal with the playing side, the coaching, and Joe deal with the management of the club? Was that where the distinction was drawn?
Yeah, I did all the training, working with the players. He used to come and watch sometimes, and he used to say, I remember us doing that at Everton, he said, you know, or that at Arsenal once, with that sort of thing we did, you know. And because Joe had been ill then, you know, I mean, Joe had been ill at Aston Villa, and Nora, his wife, didn't want him to come back into football. But when we won the second division, and he was much more settled, and his memory was coming back, you know, because he couldn't remember things. But his memory was coming back, and then we had a fairly good season the next season, and the next season we won the championship. So he was, you know, he was made up.
Who were the players